Hey, welcome to the Bristol Small Business Show. Today, I've got a really exciting guest. I've got Adam Carter. Now, Adam, I've brought on for a couple of different reasons. One, he's joined me in basically the leadership team, basically in Team BSB. So I a little while ago asked for a few people to help me out, and Adam very quickly put up his hand and said, "Kevin, I'd love to help you out if you would like my support." Adam does business coaching, which a lot of people might think is a bit funny, hey?
Absolutely. Don't know why.
So, but coaches need coaching too, because from time to time we get off track, we get sidetracked, we get too many different ideas, and we try and put out too many different conflicting things. I don't know anyone who'd be guilty of that, do you?
No, absolutely. We all need the help.
So, absolutely. So, look, one of the really exciting things about having Adam on board is that he is a specialist in helping people with business plans. And very much, I felt that for Small Business to do what we really wanted to achieve this year, to help us, take the challenge to some governments, to help us to grow the team, to help us to do some really cool stuff. We needed to be very, very focused. So, Adam's helping me with that. So how are you going, Adam?
Not too bad. Exciting times. 2020 is a year of, I think, a bit of reconciliation, and we need to learn from it and how we can sort of plan forward.
Yeah, look, it's I'm ready for the four horsemen to come riding over the mountain range at the moment. It has been one of those years that's had absolutely everything for everybody. At the start of the year, I was helping you with business plans, which is interesting.
Correct.
And
that was cool. Earlier, we all need some help.
And it gave you a different view of life, and you've in turn provided a different view of life for me as well, which is fantastic. And when we combine the two, it absolutely really helps us, because it is so critical that people have a business plan. Yeah.
100%.
So why?
I guess one of my key reasons helping people is I help business owners get their thoughts down on paper and their ideas. That's really critical. A lot of people are really stuck in their businesses and not focusing on their business. And normally you need an independent person who's not in your business in the day-to-day running of things, just to ask, why are you doing that? What are you doing that for? And really putting those thoughts and crystallizing those thoughts and putting them on paper and building out a plan.
Absolutely. So having those ideas down on paper does a couple of different things. One, it makes you start thinking about where you are and where you're going and what the path is from here to there.
Correct. 100%. And
it also,
you go. Also, at the end of the day, it's your thoughts, but it's also letting your team know, if you've got a team, whether it's in Australia or virtually, overseas, and even let your partner know, what are you doing, why are you doing it? That's really critical.
Absolutely. The other part of it is it helps you really clearly identify when new opportunities come up, if they fit where you're going or if that's taking you off course. And that's really critical too.
And also, it holds you to account. If your thoughts and that are down on paper, and you're analysing it, and you're measuring your performance, then you're being held to account. So whether it's someone doing it for you or doing it yourself, it's really, well, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it.
Absolutely. I can remember a quote from Steve Jobs where he talked about, of all of the different things that Apple did accomplish, they're even more proud of the different things that they said no to along the way, some of which turned into phenomenally successful things with other corporations themselves. But they were so proud, because had they tried to take all of that on, they would have been distracted, they would have been spread too thin, they never would have achieved what they did.
Correct.
And so that's why that's really critical. Now, your background is really interesting as well. You, for obviously some very early sins, became an accountant
yes.
with a Big Four firm.
Yeah, I was a previous auditor in my previous life, working in Zimbabwe, and as auditors do, especially this time of the year, you'd be looking forward to end of financial year stock takes. And some of the exciting things I did was count crocodiles. That's one of my previous early highlights.
You got to count crocodiles.
Yes, on a stock take for a client.
I can remember James Bond doing that in one of his movies, the one where he's down in New Orleans and things. You Only Live Twice, I think it was, or one of them.
So, I mean,
Live and Let Die, that's the one it was. It was Live and Let Die. Anyway, talking about Live and Let Die. So basically, really important from an accounting background, being very strong on process and driven from that perspective. Also understanding that business is more than just the numbers, and that's really, people don't realize that auditors get so involved in the business processes and making sure that they are suitable for the business, not just that they're being compliant with laws and stuff, but the processes are actually helping the business get where the business is looking to go.
And that's what a lot of learnings from that is working in many countries and working in tourism, finance, IT. And also working in the sports and racing industry and working with clubs and not-for-profits, is you've really got to try and generate $2 out of $1, and there's not normally a lot of money to go around. So you need a clear plan. I've worked very operationally as well as a previous CFO, and currently I'm sit as a board director of a national sports organisation and a chairman of a school. So I can take a helicopter view or get stuck down in the trenches with everybody. So.
Let's hope that there is no trench warfare going on. But so we've identified that there's 7 key elements in relation to a really successful business plan.
Correct.
And so let's walk through. It really starts out with one clear vision. Yeah.
That's 100%. You need a solid vision statement. A clear goal, like why are you doing what you're doing? Is it a hobby? Are you trying to make money? Why are you in business?
Because depending on what you're trying to achieve, that could send you off on a whole lot of different paths. Like whether you're trying to, go for world domination, or whether you're just trying to create a lifestyle for your family, they're 2 different paths.
Correct.
And so being really clear about what your long-term goal is for your business, there's no wrong answer here. That's the beauty of it.
That's right.
The absolute beauty is that there is no wrong answer. Whatever you want to achieve, that's what your business plan is there to help you achieve.
Yeah, and it's not set in concrete. You can change it along the way. As long as you've got a roadmap and you're following the road, you might take a few detours along the way, but as long as you get back on track and follow that roadmap.
Absolutely. And the critical elements to that roadmap is having a really clear understanding of where you are today and where you're starting from, but also then where you're going to, so that you can start mapping that journey out. And really your business plan is that mapping of the journey, yeah?
That's right. Getting those thoughts down on paper. Why are you doing what you're doing? Where do you want to be, and how are you going to get there?
Cool. Once you've determined that, the next part is probably the second most critical element, and it's the most influential element of your business plan. It really is. We were talking about it. I call it building your business model strategy. You talk about strategy development, and I talk about it's selecting the right business model, because if you're trying to sell 10,000 widgets, it's very different from if you want 15 or 20 different high value clients or products that you're selling. Yeah,
that's right.
So it's about identifying what model and identifying the elements that are there, so that then out of that, the rest of your business model, the rest of your plan can absolutely flow properly.
Correct. So undertaking a gap analysis or a business health check, understanding what products and services you're doing and why you're doing it, who you're selling to.
Fantastic. So once you've determined, here is my really clear goal, here's where I am, here's my really clear goal, here's my business model that I'm doing, I understand the gaps right now, I understand the skills and knowledge that I don't have, the resources that I need to take me there. All of a sudden, it's okay, so now what do we need to do? And we're coming into the key elements of what we need to do and creating a solid marketing plan and how you're going to go out and look for those clients and do that. Are your clients reoccurring clients, or are they one-off sales and you wave them goodbye, never to be seen again? These things are going to create very different a process in your marketing plan.
Correct. And you need to understand what does your customer want at the end of the day. It's not what you want. It's what does your customer want at the end of the day.
What? We've got to think of everyone else.
Correct. What's your unique selling point at the end of the day? Because if you don't have a customer, you don't have a business.
Absolutely. And that is absolutely critical. And that's why we start looking at your marketing plan at the start of it, because, once you've put together, here's where I want to go, and you can work out here's where you want to go in the next 12 months, you can work out how many of what I need to sell. And then you can determine the approach that you need to take to do that.
That's right.
Fantastic. So after we've determined our marketing plan and we've got in place our marketing and sales strategy, what's the next thing we need to start thinking about?
We need to think about the operations and how we're going to deliver that plan, and roll that out to who and how you're going to do it. What resources, etc., do you need?
Absolutely. Another way of thinking about this is customer success. So how can we deliver success to our customers in what we're doing? How are they going to love what we deliver? Making sure that our products are manufactured right, making sure the services that we're delivering on the promises that we've got, and all of those sort of things. A lot of different elements involved here, because we need to start thinking about the capacity of our team and the members of our team and who's going to be doing what, so that we can ensure that we are delivering appropriately, and that we're not employing people when we've got nothing for them to deliver.
Absolutely.
And so that we're employing at the right time.
Yeah, having a good organizational chart, understanding everyone's roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, really fantastic. Making sure that the processes and the systems and the processes that you're putting in place, that there's a flow to them, that you're automating what you can, and all that sort of stuff, that all belongs in this operational sphere.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of business owners or directors get lost in their business. You get stuck in the business, you're not focusing on the business. This is one of the biggest weaknesses that we need to help business owners with.
Oh, look, I've definitely been guilty of being busy and not productive. Running around and doing lots of stuff, but is that helping the financial success of the business? Is that helping the success of my clients? And that's really critical, that you get beyond the busy and into the productive.
Correct. And that leads on to really another good point, our next stage.
Our next stage is about the finances of the business, and it's making 100%. Sure that we are being focused. Now, my accountant that I was having a chat with a little while ago, he said, he got this opportunity coming in to work on a proposal where they were going to move their business from having about $1.2 million turnover to $6 million turnover, and they were so excited about it. And he went, "Whoa, you're going to send yourself broke."
Yeah, you can't expand too quickly without.
And the client went, "I'm going to have $6 million." And he said, "Well, not before you have to spend a whole lot of money to build that $6 million. And the client went, "Oh, I hadn't even thought about that." Now, they were able to get some financing in place and do all the appropriate things and to take that on. But had they not thought about it beforehand, they could have sent the company broke because it was growing, which a lot of people don't realize happens.
That's right. I mean, we all want to grow, but you've got to have a good base, good solid foundation in place.
So when we talk about your financial plan, we're talking not just about creating a nice looking P&L that shows a nice clear growth every month and all that sort of stuff, but we're looking at the cash flow implications of what happens there and all that sort of stuff. And the reality is it's probably going to be a bit more bumpy, as we talked about, with the capacity of operations and adding extra people in and that sort of stuff. Quite often adding extra people in is a little bit lumpy, right? People do come, you can hire in consultants and contractors and outsourced resources, but it's not always a complete straight line scale up. Quite often it's actually you've added on a resource and capacity jumps all of a sudden. Right? And so it's really important to be thinking about those considerations, to be thinking about, hey, when you're collecting your GST, that's really awesome, but don't go and spend it because you're going to have to give that to the government at the end of the quarter.
100%.
However, it is their money, it's not yours, but they're letting you hold on to it for a little while, which can be cruel if you use that appropriately. And there's lots of different strategies around that to make sure that you're not setting yourself down the wrong stream. Yeah,
that's right. And you need a good solid budget. Like everyone says, a budget is cast in stone, but you've got to have some good, robust numbers to support your goals and your plan. And it's all costed out and try and get a return on investment.
Absolutely. And in a former life, I was a budget accountant for a pharmaceutical company. We're not here to talk about that, but basically the entire job of one person in that company was just to keep and manage the budgets and do variance analysis and make sure. Now, if this is happening in big business, we need to start paying a bit of attention to that, because I've always said big business keep outperforming small business by almost $2 to 1 per hour of time that we put into it. If they're doing that, what can we learn from what they're doing so that we can get closer to that $2 of output for the same hour?
Definitely. Working smarter, working wiser, and you don't always have to put on full-time staff. And like you mentioned earlier, you can look at whether it's a virtual CFO, virtual assistant to help you get in hours to help you, so then you can focus on the business and not get lost in the business.
And absolutely. So it's so important to do that. Once we've gone through, we've decided where we're going and what that's going to look like, and we've got really clear about where we're going. We've chosen an appropriate business model and strategy that we're going to do. We've got the right marketing plan, and our operations are all mapped out, and we know what we're going to be doing. We've then costed it all and seen that we're going to be profitable. We're still not quite there though, are we?
No. We need to have good targets, key measures or key performance indicators, targets to assess on how we're performing, how are we tracking, are we on track?
I like to think of them as critical success factors. It's a whole lot less. It doesn't feel like, this is stuff that you've got to do. It's stuff that you need to achieve. And rather than targets, have achievement goals, and from that point, that's just, it's just a non-confrontational, non-violent way of thinking about them. If you want to if you want to go down that. And the thing is, there's no absolute right or wrong, but it is about making sure that you know the things that you need to do that are going to be critical in the attainment of the goals that you have.
Yeah. You've got to measure. You've got to measure yourself.
And so, and through that, then you'll have the accountability you'll have key milestones and accountability steps for you to get there. So really, when you put all this together, and if you can, once you've done that, creating a nice, simple executive summary can help you stay on track.
That's right. It doesn't have to be a 50-page document. I mean, it can be a simple one-pager with underlying numbers and assumptions behind that.
Kerry Packer was famous for having one-page business plans. Right? He made people do all of the robust thinking so that they could summarize it back into a one-page document, because that way he could go, I like that idea, or I hate that idea, and it was all good.
Yeah, you've got to pretend you're pitching to Shark Tank all the time.
Absolutely. So what I want you to think about, if you would like a business plan, part of the BSB grant program that I'm offering, we're going to stop waiting for the state government to make up its mind on who they're going to help and who they're not going to help and that sort of stuff. We're actually offering to help 40 people produce a business plan. Normally it would have been $500 at a time. This isn't a group setting. We will be getting everyone together in a big enough room, not all 40. We'll do it in groups of less than 10, so that we can put these groups together and have 4 planning days where you will walk out at the end of the day with a business plan.
Absolutely. We want to impart our knowledge and help those small to medium-sized businesses and micro businesses and the sole operators to develop a plan.
And back in your day, when you were helping people consulting and that sort of stuff, and back when I was an accountant, I was getting paid, a lot of money, in today's term, probably $100,000 a year to be doing this for people. And we're not going to be charging thousands of dollars for that. In fact, the normal price is only $500.
That's right.
But if you put a comment below, if you're interested in a BSB grant, we'll put in a link below. Chrissy's going to help us with that, so that you can actually register or apply for a BSB business grant, where we will work with you and choose dollar for dollar. So instead of being, $497, it's only going to be $247. So, it's a really awesome opportunity to work with some others on helping test whilst you're live. Does this sound right? Is this going to work? Whilst you're working through a process to build a plan in just one day.
Definitely. I'm excited to pass my knowledge on to people, and also in a group setting. There's always other people who've got other great ideas as well.
Absolutely. And in each of these days, there is going to be the two facilitators. So you'll have different points of view, showing that there'll be one template, but there'll be different points of view so that you've got a more rounded approach to what you're doing to help you achieve the goals that you want, and getting an absolute plan in place to set you up for success. Look, there are still dark clouds on the horizon. Don't be fooled by, restrictions are easing and we're coming out of it, the world's going to be a happy place. A lot of people are predicting that the slowdown is only just starting. Having a business plan right now, it's never been more critical.
100%.
To actually be knowing what you need to do and maintaining some flexibility about how you go about that, but actually having, here is the stuff that I need to be doing to achieve the success that I want to have.
That's right. Very important.
So, if you're interested, please put a comment below. We will reach out to you. We will start promoting this throughout the community. Please, I can't encourage you enough to make sure, whether it's through this program or through another, make sure you have a business plan. Make sure you have a plan of attack and that you're committed to it, because that is what's going to help you have a successful business so that you can achieve your goals and your desires.
Definitely.
You got any final words?
I guess from my point of view, thanks for today, but really 5 key reasons why people need a business plan is, like we said, having a roadmap. You need to map your future. It's going to support your growth, and you're going to secure any funding going forward, any partnerships, and it's going to develop a course of action to help you, as I said, either with your partner, your team, your customers, etc. It's going to help manage your cash flow, like we said. And at the end of the day, you want to try and build your business to either sell it or partner with somebody and have a strategic exit at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So imagine being 12 months down the track. You've had a business plan, and sure, there's been a few road bumps along the way, but you've stayed true to your plan and you're achieving the goals, and you're well on the way to achieving what you wanted. Or you could just keep carrying on, just doing what is coming up and being busy.
That's right.
It's up to you how much further you feel you can go with a plan. I know that $250 is not a big investment. In one sense, as it can be, but in other sense, it's probably less than a fraction of one extra client throughout the course of the year. So that's why I'm encouraging everyone to get out there and get a plan.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, so seek assistance.
Absolutely. Look, thanks a lot for your time today, Adam. I really appreciate you putting your hand up to help me with Brisbane Small Business and to create a plan and to help me stick with it, as well as helping the members of our community through this particular program. So thanks very much for that.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's time.